Kash, Patel, and his girlfriend have weaponized the legal system against Elijah Schaefer and his media company, Rift TV, in an unprecedented case of lawfare that will not be taken lightly, allegedly using Kash's own legal resources. Insane details to be exposed. We have here from the Gray Zone, Max Blumenthal's publication. Kash Patel's girlfriend files frivolous $5 million lawsuit against MAGA influencers for insinuating she's a Mossad honeypot. Elijah Schaefer was just sued not for something he said, but for quote tweeting someone else and a picture. So apparently somebody here tweeted, Mossad sent female operatives deep into Iran, seducing top officials, infiltrating government surveillance networks, and carrying out sabotage missions. And then Elijah Schaefer quote tweeted this with a picture of Kash Patel and his girlfriend, which this has been like a running meme for as long as everybody's known about his girlfriend, that she's an attractive Israeli woman dating an Indian. You don't see that every day. And people think that maybe there's more to the story there. All right, so Elijah's gonna go over the lawsuit here for us.
Over the weekend, I received concerning news that I was being sued for $5 million by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. And the reason why might actually shock you. About a couple months ago, I posted this photo on the public social media platform X. Posted it with no caption, no suggestions of any malintent or any slander, defamation, or criticisms of character. I did so attached to an X post shared by another account that I'm not connected to that talked about government agents being compromised. Now Alexis Wilkins is saying that I owe her $5 million for damages, the exact evaluation of my company, and if I cannot come up with that money, then I'm going to have to shut down my business, give up all of my digital assets and my entire voice online in order to pay her back. So why does Kash Patel's girlfriend want to silence me? Well, it comes down to the lawsuit itself. Before anyone jumps to conclusions and says, well, don't say that she's a honeypot, I'd like to say, I never did. I never would. I never felt like suggesting that, never even suggested that in my own head. So why am I being sued for something I never did? To give proof of that, in section 14 of the lawsuit, it states, while the defendant may not have included any caption to spell out the meaning of his post, he didn't have to. Ever since Kash Patel was appointed as director of the FBI in February of 2025, the conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading false narratives about Miss Wilkins as an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or quote honeypot, who is only in the relationship with Kash Patel to spy on and manipulate the United States government. Defendant's wordless reply, it goes on to say. So to clarify, if you post a public photo of a government official and his romantic partner, who he's not married to, a very important fact we'll talk about, you as a private citizen or a member of the press can be bankrupt.
Yeah, I was going to say girlfriend. You're a grown-ass man. You've had a girlfriend for years. What is that even? Race mixed girlfriend for years. Look, I don't know that much about defamation, but people always say that if you're a public figure, it's very difficult to prove defamation because you have to prove that the person knows that what they're saying wasn't true. And I don't know how you're going to prove that Elijah Schaefer knows she isn't an Israeli spy. She could be an Israeli spy. That's entirely plausible. He fucking he's the head of the FBI. He's Indian. She's hot and she's Israeli. That's like one of the most believable conspiracy theories I've ever heard in my life. And we know they do that. The thing Elijah Schaefer was quote tweeting was not an unsubstantiated conspiracy theory. Israel does that. They use honeypot girls to go in and spy. Lots of countries do this and have done it through like the history of intelligence and espionage. Israel definitely does it. And just as an outsider looking at those two, it's just like, oh yeah, that tracks. But somehow you're going to prove in a court of law that he didn't know that she's really just in true love.
Did have your entire company shut down or completely mocked, slandered, and dragged through lawfare.
Wasn't she from PragerU? Originally, I don't know the backstory that deeply, but didn't she work for PragerU? Basically a Mossad operation. Don't sue me for saying that, but PragerU's whole thing is like pushing Zionism and philo-Semitism and Judeo-Christianity. And like people who work for PragerU are former IDF, like one of the head people. I'm kind of vague on the details, but I remember reading that like not Dennis Prager, but some woman who's like really high up. I don't know, man. It's pretty believable.
First Amendment protected rights. Now, I believe that this lawsuit is not only an attack on our First Amendment and our constitutional rights given to us by God, but I believe this is also a violation of SLAPP ordinances. This seems to be a proxy lawsuit, if anything, from Kash Patel himself, and I have the evidence to prove it. We'll start here by talking about what is this lawsuit about and why is it so concerning?
Elijah Schaefer's getting sued for tweeting a picture of Kash Patel and his girlfriend in a funny tweet. Like, couldn't you literally just say it's a joke? Like, it's just funny? Because it is funny. Maybe it's true. It's definitely funny. It's objectively funny. And that's what people do on Twitter, is they joke.
Alexis Wilkins states that I never said anything about her being a Mossad agent. So how am I being sued for saying anything about that? Considering I'm being sued for things I didn't say? Yeah, you heard that right. They're suing me for the implications based upon previous posts I had made on my X account, not about Alexis, not about Kash, but about the state of Israel. I take you to section 17 of evidence. Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians, in which they share a post that I said Trump doesn't want to admit that Netanyahu doesn't fear him. Israel has more control over the USA than we do over them. Our politicians are hook, line, and sinker, sold out to the Jewish state of regime. It's genuinely disheartening, and we must remove these parasites from AIPAC. They also posted more evidence in the lawsuit, nothing to do with Alexis Wilkins, nothing to do with Kash Patel, and nothing to do with me saying anything about her being a Mossad agent. So why is it that they've made the entire lawsuit about my thoughts on the Israeli government? That's highly suspicious. They also posted more evidence where I said my entire feed is just about people glazing Israel and defending the occupation of our nation. It's incredible.
Right. So the algorithm, yeah, which somebody was just complaining about that in the chat earlier.
I also said you either get Israel-controlled politicians who hate you or foreigners who hate you. Welcome to America. I hate it here. And one of the last posts they put, there's many more that I'll read.
This is very weird. None of these posts have to do with Kash Patel's girlfriend who is suing him. So why even include them in the lawsuit? It's like poisoning the well. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, if we get the right loyal judge in this trial, which I'm sure somebody like Kash Patel can even manipulate behind the scenes if he wants to. Please don't sue me for saying that, but you're the fucking head of the FBI. Because what does this have to do with anything? Him complaining about the Twitter algorithm? What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
It breaks my heart that Trump could have been if he wasn't a slave to Israel. Tragic. Now, if you're like me and you're wondering, what did I possibly do?
Oh, he called Kash Patel a slave? But again, that's not Kash Patel suing you, which he's like a government figure, which means like the bar is even higher. There's like normal person, and then there's public figure, and then there's like you work for the American government, which is like you're totally allowed to get criticized, including calling you a slave to Israel. Like all basically of the US government is slave to Israel. Well, you think you can sue people for saying that? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
To receive a lawsuit for $5 million, which they suspiciously got the exact valuation of my intellectual property, that would force me to shut down and apologize.
It kind of blows my mind how successful Elijah Schaefer. So what, his business is worth $5 million? Let me tell you, man, the Daily Cope evaluation would probably come in at about 12,000 or something like that, dude. And like he's got like this nice studio and everything. I don't know, dude. He's not even like that big. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to throw shade. He's way bigger than me. He's also like a good talker. Like I get why he's successful, because he's good at talking off the cuff, but he's kind of a small fish in a big pond. So it is weird that they're going after him.
Apologize and turn over all my assets to this.
He gets a ton of viewers. Depends what you consider a ton. Compared to me, sure.
It's the district court that would require me to turn over communications in discovery, which I'll talk about what we're planning on doing and how we're going to be responding to this. I'm going to tell you, this is a very dangerous precedent for the American people, because the entire evidentiary case they have against me is that I do not support Israel, that I do not believe that Americans are free, that we are occupied by Israel, and that my criticisms of Kash are why this is filed. Now, let's talk about about this. I want to clarify things.
I hope you can countersue them. You can totally countersue people for frivolously suing you. My lawyer asked me if I wanted to countersue. I declined to, but it's totally a thing you can do because getting sued causes a lot of distress. And if people are causing you distress without a good reason, you can sue them for doing that.
I never said anything about Alexis Wilkins, period. She said that I had a wordless reply. Sounds dystopian, doesn't it? She also said I didn't imply anything about her being a Mossad agent. In fact, it says that I just posted a picture of our unmarried head of intelligence in our country, one of the single most important positions in the world, that is dating a girl who we know nothing about. He is not married in a committed relationship by law. That's important. And he's on the dating market. Do you want your FBI director to be on the dating market? I just think it's interesting, whether he's with her or anybody else. It's like, yeah, people can be susceptible towards whatever's going on. And that's not even why I posted the photo. But well, people could be. So what would be wrong?
Rift is down bad. They might be getting funded from someone or something. Is it another Tenet situation? Who knows? Who knows? There seems to be a lot of money.
If somebody even didn't. I didn't imply it. But it's like, even if they're accusing me of doing what they say I did, is there a crime in just wondering if your intelligence
Don't sue me, Elijah. I'm just asking questions.
agencies are being led by uncompromised individuals? No, obviously not. Look at James
The BTC guy, Jack Cruz, funds him. Okay, well, there you go. Can I get funded? I don't really have any interest in upping my production, but can I just have some money? Can somebody just give me money? Some Bitcoin billionaire?
Keefe's entire investigative portal. He literally finds unmarried government officials, intelligence operatives from the CIA, and he sets them up on fake dates, uses them to get sensitive information, and then compromises entire departments. It happens all the time. Americans have the right to question if that's happening to anyone in our government.
True.
It doesn't matter if they're a private citizen or a public figure.
True.
Like Miss Wilkins.
My expert legal analysis is that this lawsuit is incredibly weak. But, the process is the punishment, as they say. A lot of times people know it. It's about sending a message. It's about a chilling effect. It's about petty vengeance because the process is the punishment.
Who, by the way, Kash has said is a public figure. He boasts all the time how she's one of the most popular country singers of all time. She's also a PragerU commentator, another organization tied to the IDF and Israeli government, allegedly.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you this. I want to ask yourself the question, if the head of the FBI girlfriend is suing a private citizen and a journalist for posting a picture without any inference, based only on the evidence that he criticized a foreign government, we have to ask ourselves, not only is Alexis Wilson foolish, is she stupid? That's my question. How dumb are you that you would file this lawsuit? You're making a mockery of yourself, your own intelligence. You make embarrassing your boyfriend, but most importantly, you're embarrassing the FBI, the United States government, and overall the Trump administration with your foolish attempt to try to intimidate and bully someone from being able to use their First Amendment right. So I ask myself these two questions. Does Kash Patel know about this? Well, if he doesn't, and he doesn't know that his girlfriend is waging million-dollar lawsuits using, according to Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone, she's using Kash Patel's legal resources, his own law firm. She's using the FBI director's law firm. Now, that's Max Blumenthal's reporting. We'll see if that turns out to be true. Well, if he doesn't, what kind of FBI director doesn't know that his girlfriend is filing frivolous lawsuits against the press for an ungodly amount of money, using his attorneys and his name to weaponize the legal system against the journalists and a media company? Now, if he does know, this is a proxy lawsuit now by Kash Patel, the FBI director of the USA. And now this is problematic because now you have the most powerful law enforcement agency in the entire country trying to stop private citizens from posting public pictures I guess they don't like. Are we allowing ourselves to do that? Are they allowed to do that? I don't think so. So now, of course, we're on the fence here.
The fact that he just posted a picture, it's so crazy, man. Like, if he said, I can verify that she's a Mossad honey, like, I know for a fact, you know what I mean? He was like, he posted a funny picture in the context of like, you know what I mean? Like, that picture could be interpreted a lot of ways. It doesn't necessarily mean like an assertion that she is 100%. It's like, oh, you say there, well, interesting. Look at this. You know what I mean? Could it be? I don't know. It's just so weak.
Allow Kash and his girlfriend, who are now obviously, this lawsuit wasn't about her. It entirely deviated from anything about her. It was all about my criticisms of Kash, the way Kash has been under stress. And again, paints me as an anti-Semite. Now, why would they do that? Well, there's only two reasons. Either A, they're trying to make the court think I'm a bad person so that they'll rule in her favor by smearing me and slandering me with unrelated facts, or B,
Yeah, that's what I said.
what this lawsuit is about. And I believe the latter. They're both true, but the latter.
You know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think maybe Kash Patel is like a really petty, insecure guy. He's Indian. He knows how all the real heritage Americans like myself. He knows how the real people who built this country feel, and the West, people who built the West. He's not one of us. He is the object of scorn and mockery. And I think it fucking keeps him up at night. I think he hates that. I think he hates that Sam Hyde is just going to call him a slur instead of talk. You know what I mean? He hates that. And he goes on Twitter and he sees all the Indian hate. And then he sees people talking about him and how people don't like him and how he's been a huge disappointment, which he objectively has, regardless of his race. Yeah, the Valhalla memes for Charlie Kirk. I'll see you in Valhalla. Oh, dude, you're never coming back from that one. This is Kash being like, I'm going to get one of these motherfuckers. That's how it feels to me, which I can relate to. I've talked about how petty I am and how much I would love to destroy somebody's life just for talking shit on the internet, and how if I had fuck you money, I would probably do that from time to time. I get it. The fact that you represent the government in your capacity makes it very weird, and you shouldn't be doing that.
This lawsuit is about silencing critics of Israel. Now, this kind of stuff happens in Australia where they don't have God-given rights.
Yeah, exactly, Nightwolf. Yeah, because the big part of the joke is just nobody thinks he could actually pull her. And I'm not saying she is Mossad. I don't know. When people sue, I tend to think probably it's not like a huge bluff where she really is Mossad, and she, you know what I'm like, probably she's not. Hard to say though, you know, there's just so much compelling circumstantial evidence here. It's not like with Bridget Macron. With Bridget Macron, I was a lot more like, that's almost certainly a woman. With this case, I'm like, maybe she's not Mossad. It's kind of weird to sue over defamation when the thing is true. But who knows?
The fact is, well, she might argue, you know, hey, she's a public figure. She's not a government official. But if she's using the director's law firm, this is very serious. This is a proxy lawsuit to bully me, the American people, a small independent media company, into not being able to comment on our elected and appointed government officials, their affairs, and their public life. We are taking this on full force. My company will not be intimidated by government officials, their proxies, or Trump's inner circle. We did not take money from Miriam Adelson, and here at the Rift TV, we are asking you guys to support us in this legal fight because, again, we have been implicated on nothing. We have been accused of nothing. We have been told that we said nothing wrong. We have never been accused of lying. And by any fact, there's nothing in this lawsuit that states that we did anything criminal, libel, or defamatory.
I'm gonna make a prediction right now that they're gonna file a motion to dismiss, and it's gonna get ruled on before my motion to dismiss that was filed almost 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years in March, I think. And I bet he gets his ruled on before me. It's crazy, dude, the way I have this hanging over my head for my whole fucking life. That could get ruled on in my favor, and then this whole nightmare goes away tomorrow, or it could get ruled against me, and now I need like $100,000 to pay for the rest of the, you know what I mean? I don't know. I've been waiting 3 years to find out what's going to happen.
All it states, and you can see the documents there at the Gray Zone article linked here, all it states is that we are critical of Israel, and therefore we are endangering her reputation and her husband's or her boyfriend, whatever they are. We don't know. And that is enough to ruin your life. Do you want to live in a country like that? Well, we're striking back legally. We've attained one of the biggest legal teams in the state of Florida in the circuit court, who has graciously taken us on. We will be taking legal donations. There is a legal fund below to take on the federal government, which we believe is doing this by proxy. We are filing to dismiss this and pursue further legal discovery. We would like to obtain communications between Kash Patel and his girlfriend to find out if he knew about these lawsuits, to find out if she ever informed him, and to go under discovery and under deposition to find out exactly what went on. Now, she's not just asking for a legal lawsuit. She's asking me to go before a jury. That's very important in a district that's very unfriendly with people who think like me. Calculated? Of course it is. Now,
which district? Did you guys catch that? Is it in New York? I can understand poisoning the well with a bunch of anti-Semitism if you're asking for a jury trial in Brooklyn or something like that. A lot of these lawsuits do end up in New York or New Jersey too for some reason.
For the American people, if you can be sued by Trump's inner circle into financial bankruptcy for protected speech, I would like to say that this lawsuit, if at all even entertained and not dismissed, is an all-out retaliation over free speech in this country.
I always wonder about the whole discovery thing because people are like, oh, we're going to get so, and it's like, how do you know I gave you all the emails or whatever? Like you have to go straight to the source, right? Like if I have a Gmail account, you need to get Google to send all emails and delete, which maybe that is how it works. That would make sense. But it's like, what? You're just trusting me to hand over everything because a judge said, okay, here you go. That's everything. That's all.
I believe these people have overstepped their boundaries as citizens of this country. They've overstepped their legal boundaries as plaintiffs in a lawsuit. And I also believe they have overstepped their boundaries as American representatives and those in such high positions as being romantic partners and directors of the FBI. This is a full-on assault on our First Amendment. And now you might be asking, why me? Why Elijah Schaefer? Well, I'm big enough that they can send a message. You will see this video. But I don't have the bank account of Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, or Candace Owens. Just a little guy like you guys trying to make a little bit of a difference, what I can for my...
Yeah. You should. If you have money, you should probably try to support Elijah. I'll probably throw a few bucks in, $271. Isn't that the same meme number that they used for the Nazi costume guy? He's gonna need money for this. That's just the reality. So support him if you can. Will Chamberlain says, good. Hope she takes them both for every penny. These are these pathetic, dude. Hope she takes them both for every penny. Freedom of speech doesn't include defamation and never has. Also, who funds the Rift? You guys have a very fancy studios and not very many viewers. Allison sent me this guy's tweet and she said, F it. She said, that's it. She just sent me this and she just wrote the word F. That's when you know you've chosen good. What is this? The Article 3 project. This is an insane lawsuit. Pay attention to everybody who supports and encourages this lawsuit, okay? Because these are bad actors. This is a garbage lawsuit. It's total garbage.